have you ever seen a carousel when the horses are sleeping? Well, maybe not sleeping exactly, but certainly resting. This carousel has been closed for the winter, but tonight the doors will be thrown open, music will be cranked up, the platform wheel will spin, and these horses will start their ride, round and round, up and down. If you close your eyes and let the wind blow on your face, you could almost imagine that these horses are alive, whinnying and clopping their hooves. For the brief moments that you ride a carousel, you feel that anything is possible. Here's the story of two sisters who rode the carousel one misty, rainy night and found a part of their lives they thought they had lost. It's called the Carousel.
The Carousel by Liz Rosenberg. Illustrated by Jim LaMarche. Read by Sarah Hubbard. The time my sister and I saw the horses, she picked me up after her band practice, and we walked into the park through a ring of old oak trees. It began to drizzle, and I thought my sister would head for home. Instead, she took my hand in one hand and swung her flute case in the other. "The horses are asleep," she said in a whisper. I smiled, because that was something our mother used to say, that the carousel horses slept all winter long and woke in spring. But our horses had been broken a long time. We heard the raindrops striking the swings and slides. The canvas over the carousel pavilion flapped in the wind. And then we heard a strange sound, a long whinnying noise. We hurried closer to the carousel and pulled the heavy white canvas aside. Inside, the carousel horses were moving around, clapping their hooves. Their harnesses chimed like Christmas bells. I recognized my favorite horse right away, the silver gray mare. I jumped on her back, the way I had 100 times before. "Wait," my sister called to me, but we were off. My sister climbed on a black and white striped zebra and rode after us. The mare broke into a run as soon as she reached the air. Higher and higher we flew, faster and a little more reckless. The others galloped close behind. They threw back their heads and snorted. They started running harder and wilder. One stallion kicked over a park bench. Another sent a trash can spinning through the air. We both watched for a minute. "They're wild because they're broken," my sister said. "Maybe Mom's toolkit?" I asked. Our mother had been someone who could fix anything. Her red toolbox was still kept out in the garage, along with her bicycle and some of her old clothes. "I'll go," I said quickly. "We'll all go," my sister said. The toolbox was covered with dust, but the tools inside were still shining. "Take good care of your tools," my mother had said, "and they'll take good care of you." Lightning flashed close by. A few of the horses reared up, panicking, ready to bolt. "Hurry," my sister said, "hurry!" We raced back to the park. Thunder rumbled all around us. Inside the pavilion, I worked till I had the carousel machinery laid out in pieces. At last, I found something. A bolt that had fallen into the machinery. I worked it loose and held it up in the air. The carousel will work now. But the horses had gone mad. They ran wild. 2 spotted ponies began to fight over a paper bag filled with leftover lunch food, slashing at each other through the air. My sister sat tall and straight on the zebra. She was watching the horses the same way she sometimes watched me. Then she took out her flute and began to play. She played Clair de Lune, the song my mother used to play when we couldn't sleep at night. The horses moved slower and slower, almost in a dance. One by one, they jumped up onto their places on the carousel. Each knew exactly where to stand. I buried my face in the mare's silvery neck. She smells like new mown grass and my mother's old wool coat. Father's car was pulling into the driveway just as we reached the house. He was tired and worried. "What were you girls doing out so late?" My sister and I exchanged glances. "We walked to the park," she told him. "Your mother used to say that the park was magical in the rain." He put up his big black umbrella, and we stood there for a minute, all three of us, safe inside the umbrella.
For the girls in the story, the carousel brought back memories of their mom who died, someone they missed a lot. They remembered all the things their mother had left them, her laughter and music, her tools, and a talent for fixing things. These were the legacies from their mom that they carried in their hearts. How about you? Do you have a legacy, a treasure that someone you loved left especially for you?
My grandmother loved to sew, and she loved to sew these beautiful elaborate dresses for dolls. And I think she passed that on to me because that's one of the things we used to do together, and I love to do that.
My grandfather has a love of sailing. In fact, he owns a sailboat. And he's really passing down that love of sailing to me by teaching me how to sail and by taking me sailing a lot.
My grandfather loved to write poetry, and he used to read his poems to his children. And I thought, why don't I try to write poetry?
This is a picture of my grandfather, Saul Kaplan, and he was a composer on the piano, and he played on a Steinway baby grand, which I now have and I play on. But whenever I see a sheet of music or a piano or somebody playing on the piano and really enjoying themselves, I think of my grandfather.
I get my love of reading from my mother. That's her legacy to me. Every time I pick up a book, I give my mom a nod. A legacy is a special gift that a parent or friend gives you that stays with you forever.